All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, September 6th. We have a full MLB slate to jump into in today's video. Like we always do, we're gonna go through each and every game. I'm gonna give you my lean or leans on the games, but all of my final plays, those will be in the pinned comment. So I'm actually rolling with myself. If you do want to fade me, those plays will be in the pinned comment. Coming off of a night that I wish we did not have to recap. Like, look at how much red is over there. The Dodgers money line does not cash first. Clayton Kershaw, he might have been throwing right-handed here. The Mariners were up, I think, 5 or 6 to 1. They blow it. They are now banned for the rest of the season. I know there's a lot of comments yesterday of people being like, I'm banning the Mariners already. Well, I should have jumped on that board because they blew it yesterday. The Nationals, probably just a dumb bet. Then we had the White Sox. They were up 5 or 6 to 1 as well, and they blow it in the bottom of the 9th inning with a balk. And he walks a guy or balks a guy home, I guess you could say. Orioles actually cash for us. The Phillies score 0 runs. And then Connor Wong does cash his over 0.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. But let's get that thing away. I don't want to look at that anymore. Terrible, terrible night. It's going to be a good day for all the haters and the guppies in the comments. But we'll bounce back today. In terms of our ride of the day, it's coming in from Matthew. We had the Brewers and the Cubs on the money line for plus 165. There's the bright spot. There we could celebrate and pump in some crowd noise, because God knows I did not bring any juice in terms of celebration for my performance last night. But Matthew even said, you know, I'm 3-0 when you've picked me for Ride of the Days. Make that 4-0 for the dude. He also had Jose Quintana under 4.5 strikeouts. So there's a little bonus bet there. We only rode with the parlay, but yeah, shout out to Matthew. If you guys do want to be the Ride of the Day, go ahead and use hashtag Ride of the Day. That hashtag right there. Use hashtag Ride of the Day in the comments. Give me a play, and I'll be jumping on board with one person's pick in the comments, and then I give you guys a shout out, win or loss, in the next video. And before we do jump into it, guys, I want to talk to you guys about potentially, you know, considering heading over and following me on a couple social media platforms here. First being Twitter or X, whatever we call it nowadays, but my username is EvGuyBoss, and I'm following everyone back lately and interacting with everyone over there. So if you do want to just another Twitter follower, follow me, because we're trying to build and post more videos over there. That's where we post a lot of our prize picks content and other additional player prop content over on the Twitter. So go ahead and follow me over there. And then somewhere else that I might need your help, and I'm asking for your help. We got banned from TikTok yet again last night. This is now our 4th account to get banned. So we do have a new account. I'll post that as well as my Twitter link in the pinned comment if you guys want to follow my new TikTok account as well as my Twitter, because that is where, again, we're posting a lot of our short form player prop content. But yeah, even if you're one of those TikTok haters, like, oh, you don't need TikTok, blah, blah, blah. Like, no. As a creator, every single, source of audience and all that helps business and helps. So if you do want to support me and help us grow, make sure to go follow me over on TikTok as well. It's Picks with a Z 3.0 this time. But let's go ahead and jump into the slate here. We're starting it off with a game in which, I honestly don't really see why it's only sitting at minus 175 on the side of Milwaukee. We don't know who's pitching for Pittsburgh yet. They're underdogs at plus 175, but really Freddie Peralta on the mound for Milwaukee. He's got a 1 flat ERA over his last 5. The team is 5-0, and yeah, like I said, minus 175, you're paying a lot of juice, but I can't really see a world in which Milwaukee doesn't win this game. It's not like they're looking at a sweep potential either, which would be the only sort of like I don't know how to say, like a golden rule of, well, they've already won 2, are they really gonna win the 3rd? No, they lost game number 1, so it shouldn't surprise anyone if they go out there and win this one and win 2 of 3 in this series. So give me the Brewers on the money line. Like I said, we don't even know who's pitching for Pittsburgh yet, but it doesn't necessarily matter all that to me for the money line, because I think that this Brewers team is and showed yesterday that they are the better team. In terms of the total, it's sitting at 8.5 right now. I will wait out and see who's pitching for Pittsburgh before making some sort of judgment on that, but I don't mind the under. I think Freddie Peralta is going to go out there and deal, and this Milwaukee team is going to have to score a bunch of runs if they do want to consider getting near this over. But I like Milwaukee on the money line more than anything else in this game. Next up, we have Cleveland taking on Minnesota here. Minnesota looking like a really good team as of late. They've won 4 of their last 5. They're putting up runs, and I don't see any reason why they wouldn't continue doing that today as they face Gavin Williams on the mound here. He has been pitching well in different spots, and he pitched well against Minnesota last time out, so I want to give his credit first. I think he only pitched like 2 innings, so I don't want to give too much credit. But I will say he's been very sporadic and kind of inconsistent on the season, going up against Joe Ryan, who just kind of found his stride in his last 2 games here. Pitched 5 innings against Texas, only letting up 1 run with 7 strikeouts, and then he pitched against Texas just a week later or so and pitched even deeper. I think it was like 6 1/3 with allowing 1 run and 7 strikeouts there. And even both those games, the 1 run were home runs, so it was kind of just like a 1 bad mistake, and that's his earned run. But I will say, if Cleveland's going to win a game, it's going to be this game, but I just can't get myself to pull the trigger on them today. So I'm still going to lean towards Minnesota, looking at the sweep opportunity here. But what I think I might like more than anything in this game is going to be the over, regardless if Joe Ryan or Gavin Williams goes out there and has a good game here. These are 2 teams that have actually been scoring more runs than you think lately. Now, Cleveland less so than Minnesota, but if Minnesota can give you their floor, which they have as of late at 5 runs here, I think this Cleveland offense can put a couple more up as well. So give me the over 9. I'll also lean towards Minnesota. Like I said, I can't really convince myself of Cleveland at this point. Weird series so far. Weird series. Like I kind of figured Minnesota would win after the momentum of the 26 win in game number 1. I figured they'd win yesterday. I didn't think they'd put up 8 runs again. Like they scored 28 runs over 2 games. The reason we may not pull the trigger on a final play here for Minnesota is like, have they used up all their runs in this series? Like, are they due for a 2 spot or something like that? We shall see. But regardless, I do think that the over could be a good lean here, but I don't know if that becomes a final play just because of what I had just mentioned. All right, Cubs taking on the Giants here. They come back and get the win yesterday. The Giants have now lost 6 of their last 7 games here. The Cubs have won 3 straight, 5-0 in game 1 of this series, and then they, like I said, come back and win 11-8 yesterday. Jordan Wick's on the mound for them. The team is 2-0 when he starts. He's got a 1 flat ERA this season here, going up against Alex Wood, who obviously is a good pitcher, but man, this guy has been good start, bad start, good start, bad start. He is due for a good start as he had a bad start last time out, but I just don't think that I can trust San Francisco right now. So I'm going to lean towards the Cubs here. We're batting .255 over the last 10 against lefties with a 6.4 runs per 9 rate. It's not that great, but when you look at what the Giants are doing in their last 10 against lefties, batting .189, how could we trust that? We can't. Give me the Cubs on the money line. I'm also going to take a peek at that under 10. I think that yesterday's game, obviously, I guess there's been some wind in Chicago, which I guess makes sense, Windy City, but apparently that's not actually about the weather, but I'm too stupid to really grasp the concept. But yeah, 5-0 was game number 1. I heard the same thing, that there's wind blowing directly out. That was an under game. Yesterday, everyone was like, the wind, and it was 11-8, so we can, you can give validation to the weather. But I'm going to kind of say, let's fade the weather here. I'm going towards the under 10.5. Neither one of these offenses is really all that impressive if you kind of exclude yesterday's game. So give me the under 10.5. I think it's a little bit too high in this spot. All right, guys, before we continue on, I do want to talk to you guys about Outlier. If you don't know what Outlier is, you need to check it out, and you can check it out for free with the link that I'm giving you today. That link's going to be in the description as well as the pinned comment for your convenience. This is one of my favorite sports betting research tools on the market right now. If you do not know what it is, again, go check it out for 7 days free. One of the best player prop research tools in the game right now. And they also have plenty of tools for game picks and everything like that, but this is the player prop screen. You can see here, we played this yesterday. Connor Wong over 0.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's hit it in all of his last 5 and 10 straight as well, in 80% of his last 20. You can see how he fares against his opponent this year and last year. We can go in and kind of dissect this. So obviously, like I said, you could look at the trends, where he hit it, how he hit it. You could scroll down and look at how he's batting against right-handed pitchers, going up against a left-handed pitcher today, actually. So we want to go over here and make sure to check that out, whether or not he's batting good or bad against that side, if he has any history history against Glasnow, for example, at bats. He has no hits against him right now. You can see Glasnow's pitching breakdown as well and how they fare in terms of heat map all the way down to that degree. Really, really cool tool, guys. You compare a lot of things. Like I said, they also have game picks and game trends and whatnot in here as well. If you do like a pick, say we like this under 8.5, right, in this Brewers game, you can add it to your picks. You can pick which sports books you like. How about DraftKings? Got the best odds there. You can press continue. It's literally going to open up DraftKings for you. Find the pick and put it in your slip. You do not have to go digging for it. It is a really, really, really cool platform. Go check out Outlier, guys. Again, that link is in the pinned comment or the description. You get 7 days free. Why would you not go try it out for 7 days? Now let's get back to the slate. Let's move on to the next game. The Oakland A's taking on Toronto. Toronto's had their way with them this series. Actually, game number 1, they almost lost, but still got the win. Yesterday, bounced back in a nice little fashion, or bounced even more forward. 7-1 win. Today, they have Ryu on the mound, going up against JP Sears, who looked good in his last start, but other than that, that may be his only good start of the season. So I'll take Toronto on the money line. I don't know if we really want to consider them at -175. I do think it's a fine spot, but it is a lot of juice. Like, I could totally see them sweeping this series, but Toronto hasn't necessarily. Now, they've won 7 of their last 10. Don't get me wrong. The competition hasn't been there. They've played Washington, Colorado, and now Oakland, right? But -175 just seems like a little bit too far out of their price range. This isn't the Braves or a really good team that we're taking -175 with kind of that surefire mentality. Toronto could lose this game. I don't think they will, but they could. So I doubt that we end up pulling the trigger on -175. Total is sitting at 8.5 runs here. I don't mind the over. We've seen 11 runs in the series and then 8 runs in this series. If Oakland just gives you a couple more runs than they did yesterday, I think we look at an over 8.5, and this gets to 9 runs. So again, we're kind of putting some trust in two teams that we don't necessarily trust offensively. For example, Oakland over their last 10 here, batting 190 against lefties, right? But hopefully Toronto picks up that weight, because they are batting 336 against lefties in their last 10. So hopefully they can score a decent amount of runs, and Oakland can just give you a little bit more than they gave you yesterday, and we cruise to an over, because I do think the over is my most likely play in this game, if, and it's a big if it were to be a final play. But keep an eye on the pinned comment to see what we end up rolling with. Oh, and by the way, we have 2 more videos coming out today at noon Eastern time. We have our college football week 2 video, and then at 5 p.m. I believe we scheduled it for, we have our Thursday night football picks video. Football's back, baby. Thursday night football. But Arizona here taking on Colorado. Just make sure you guys go check out those videos. Arizona heavily favored in this one. Zach Davies is going up against Chris Flexen here. I'd really only consider Arizona in some sort of a money line play. They lost last night, which makes me like them even more today, because I can't see them losing 2 of 3 to this Colorado team. Not that Arizona's been playing all that great, but I don't think Colorado just is him. You know what I mean? Like, even though Arizona's been struggling, I think they're a better team than this Colorado team. So give me Arizona on the money line in some sort of a parlay. In terms of a total, we've seen a 4-2 and a 3-2 game so far in this series, and the total's up there, the highest it's been this series, at 9.5. Maybe it's a trap, but I like the under in this spot. You can get that for -110 over on FanDuel as well, and it's on, I think it's like at -115-ish on most other sports books. So good to see that there with a little bit of value, that it's a little bit more juiced on other sports books. So we'll take the under. That's probably the main lean and biggest chance of being a final play in this game. But so far, guys, we're getting into the crux of this slate. So far, like you can probably tell by my voice, don't love much of what we've talked about so far. The beginning half of this slate, I'm not thrilled with. But this game, I do think has a strong chance of being a final play. Phillies taking on San Diego. Yesterday, San Diego pummels them 8-0, right? Phillies get the game 1 win 9-7, and then they had what lately you would consider an uncharacteristic game, scoring 0 runs. They had been scoring 1,000,000 runs prior to this. I think they bounced back today with Zach Wheeler on the bump. He's got a 2.4 ERA over his last 5 here. Has had some success, I guess you could say, against San Diego this season. 7 innings pitched, 3 earned earned runs we don't love to see, but he did go 7 innings with 7 strikeouts here, averaging 14.4 pitches per inning. I talk about Wheeler all the time. If you look at his FIP compared to his ERA and all of his other pitching stats, it is crazy. He's one of the unluckiest pitchers in the league, and he has the talent. Going up against Michael Wacha today, who I'll give him credit. He's been good over his last 5. His little, misleading 1.6 ERA over his last 5. If you look at it from a last 3 perspective, he struggled a little bit more. 3.78 ERA with a 1.44 WHIP over his last 3. I'm hoping that that's what we see today because I like the Phillies in a bounce back spot. And they've been scoring a bunch of runs. Now the Padres also have been scoring a bunch of runs, or at least batting well for average, I should say. I don't want to say scoring a bunch of runs, even though they have, but they've had a couple, 2-run games, 4-run games sprinkled in, whereas Philadelphia, prior to yesterday, were scoring like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? But I like the over 8 in this spot as well. It's kind of a safety net play, in my opinion. If this kind of turns for the worse for Wheeler, it means a lot of runs are going to be scored. I think the Philly bats are going to come alive, and if the Padres continue what they did yesterday, then yes, everything I said about Wheeler out the window, but this over has a strong chance of cashing. So I'll take the over 8 as well in this game. In terms of what they've done in their last 10 year, Padres 296 against righty with a 5.5 runs per 9 and 7.5 hits. Phillies 272 average with a 7 runs per 9 and a 5.6 hit rate. Both these teams over 350 in the on-base department too there. So I like the over 8 as well in this spot. All right, Miami taking on the Dodgers, another L that we caught last night. But what game that we bet on didn't we catch an L on last night, right? Like literally bad night last night. But the Dodgers, I like them today. Lance Lynn on the bump. He hasn't necessarily, he did look good. He did look good leading up until that Atlanta game in which he got absolutely shelled by that Atlanta team. But I've said all season long, you have to consider these matchups when pitchers have good or bad starts. Like, it's not just, what have you done in your last 5? No. If you went up against Atlanta and he let up 7 runs through 4 1/3, I'm way more willing to forgive that performance than I am if he went up against, the Oakland A's and let up 7 through 4 1/3. So I think it's a bounce back spot for Lance Lynn and a bounce back spot for the Dodgers all together here. We don't have much data, obviously, on the starter for Miami because I think he's just opening the game. JT Chargois. I can't pronounce names. I can't pronounce my own name. So, but he only pitched 1 inning in his last start and let up 1 hit, no earned runs, but again, only 1 inning pitched. But this Dodgers team versus righties here in their last 10, 6.1 runs per 9, 306 average, averaging 8 hits, over a home run per game with a near 400 on base percentage. Give me the Dodgers minus 155 on the money line in a big old bounce back spot. In terms of the total, right now it's sitting at 9, which the Dodgers have not covered in 5 of their last 6 here and in 4 straight. Miami's actually covered in 3 of their last 4. I think the Dodgers kind of explode offensively today. I'd consider their team total more than anything, which I don't have it up in front of me. Let's see if we can pull it up really quickly. I do think that that's probably where I end up leaning today. Yeah, for their over 4.5 minus 130. That's a little high. I was hoping for a 3.5 line, so we'd probably stick away from that. I'd probably stick away from the total altogether in this game. I want the Dodgers to get the win. I do think that they explode, but I don't mean that like it's a surefire thing, right? So I'll just take the Dodgers on the money line and be happy with that lean and a strong chance to be a final play in this game. All right, Tampa Bay taking on the Red Sox. I like Tampa Bay here, and I'm saying that as a Red Sox fan. They have the pitching advantage. Obviously, they have the team advantage here as well. Pivetta on the mound for the Red Sox, going up against Tyler Glasnow. Tyler Glasnow's got a 2 flat ERA over his last 5. Pivetta has struggled lately, 4 flat ERA over his last 5 year. Last time out, Glasnow pitched a real good game against the Red Sox. 6 strikeouts here with only 4 hits let up through over 5 innings pitched and 1 earned run. You can get them right now for minus 155 over on DraftKings. FanDuel has them priced at minus 164, so there's a little bit of value there as well if you do want to consider that. In terms of the total, this one, we've seen 2 high-scoring games between these 2 teams so far in this series, but they're only 6-4 to this over, or their over, I should say, when playing one another. And one of those was a 7.5 total way back in April, in which they only scored 8 runs combined. So I actually am going to lean towards the under, but I don't think that makes it into final play. If anything on this game is going to be a final play, it would be Tampa Bay on the money line. I'm trusting Glasnow over Pivetta. Fading this game because my brain and my gut wants to go with the Mariners. I banned them yesterday. I gotta stick true to that we're banning them, but I can't really lean towards Cincinnati today. I don't love the matchup. I don't love the spot. I think the Mariners have the better chance of winning this game, but I can't do it, guys. I can't be the dummy in the room that gives them another chance and they let me down. And I am sure that now that we don't bet on the Mariners, they're going to win like 12-1. But you know what? We can't do it. We got to stay strong. Have a little willpower, Ev. We're sticking away from the Mariners here. Total sitting at 10.5. At least we'll lean towards the under, because then we're kind of rooting against the Mariners as well. We're rooting against both teams. All right, Washington taking on the Mets here. We lost this one yesterday. 11-5 was the final score. And we've seen a couple high-scoring games between these two teams as of late in their last few series. But I'm going to fade both offenses. Now, they've been trending in the right direction, so I'll give them their flowers. But 10.5, just like yesterday, I felt like it was too high. Yes, they went out there and scored a million runs yesterday, but can these two teams really do that 2 games in a row? Like, we're talking about the Nationals, and we're talking about the Mets here. Pitching-wise, yes, these guys can let up a bunch of runs. Joan Adon on the mound for Washington, going up against Butto here, Buto for the Mets. So sure, these guys can kind of have a meltdown and let up a bunch of runs, but 10.5, I don't see this getting to 12 today. Kind of a revenge spot too for me, because we were just completely wrong about this game yesterday, right? We wanted to take the underdog flyer on the Nationals. They got smoked, and I like the under just because it seemed too high. They scored a million runs. So things have to come back down to earth today, right? If you're asking me, they have to come back down to earth. So give me the under. In terms of a side pick here, maybe I lean towards the Mets, but you won't catch me actually putting money on the Mets. I just cannot seem to trust them. But I'll take the under 10.5. That has a chance to be a final play. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. All right, we have the Yankees taking on the Tigers, and I think I got a little run line lean here. I'm going to lean towards the Tigers on the run line. They covered that, obviously, in 4 of their last 5, but that's because they've won 4 of the last 5. That was their first loss in 5 games against the Yankees, but I think that Matt Manning is going to be able to go out there and kind of pitch well. He had 6 innings pitched, only allowing 2 hits and 0 earned runs in his last start, which is just his last start, right? Or a week ago, right? His last start against this Yankees team. Hopefully goes out and does that thing again. And right now for -145, you can get the Tigers for +1.5 against the Yankees team, who's going up against a righty, right? They're batting 193 in their last 10 against righty. So neither one of these teams is excelling in the offensive department, and the Yankees struggling to hit for average against righties as of right now. So yes, they've kind of upticked their run allotment, but I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I like the under 8.5 as well. You can get it at 9 on some books, I think on FanDuel right now, which is great. So under 9, and if we're betting under, I like the chances of a run line hitting. Clark Schmidt on the mound for the Yankees. Take him or leave him. He's really not a factor to me. Last time he pitched against Detroit, he only pitched 4 2/3 and let up 3 earned runs and a home run, averaging 20 pitches per inning. So I don't think that he's going to go out there and deal. But yeah, give me the Tigers to keep this game close, cover the 1.5 line there, and I'll also take the under 8.5. But if we can get it at 9 over on FanDuel, I'd love that as well. Atlanta taking on St. Louis. Not much to say about this game. Atlanta gets smoked by them yesterday, 10-6. Now they have Spencer Strider on the mound going up against Dakota Hudson. I have a feeling Atlanta kind of bounces back in a big way here. This Atlanta team obviously, seems resilient. They did lose. They've lost 2 in a row now, so you got to assume that they're not going to lose 3 in a row, especially against a team like St. Louis. So I will take the Braves here, but it's going to have to be on some sort of a money line play, as they are near 300 in terms of favored by -300. So not really loving that spot altogether, or that money. And even on the run line, you're paying -132 for -1.5. A little sketchy to me, but maybe we do lean towards the run line. In terms of the total, I like the over, because I think the Braves are going to score a bunch of runs in this game. Kansas City taking on the White Sox. I don't even want to talk about this game, man. The White Sox had it in the bag. Dylan Cease did his job like we thought, right? And then the White Sox just piss away that game. And the way that they lose, what's his name, Santos? He balks. I can't even say that, balks. He balks with the bases juiced. Tie game, bottom of the 9th. He already let up the run. I think it was Bobby Witt Jr. drove in or what run, right? Man, on 2nd and 3rd, they walk a guy. There's 2 outs, and he balks. Balks a guy home to lose the game. Like, what are we doing? I mean, yes, you could say in the comments, dude, you bet on the White Sox. Like, what are you doing? That's fair. That is fair. But don't tell me that they shouldn't have won that game. Like, what a bad sequence of events. But I'll give credit to the people being like, well, yes, it's crazy how that transpired, but you bet on the White Sox have, so anything can happen. In this game, we have Touki Toussaint going up against Jordan Lyles. Give me the over 9.5. These two pitchers, I don't trust anything, but I don't trust these bats either. But hell, give me a double-digit game. Screw it. All right, Texas taking on Houston. So far, it's been a good, entertaining series. It hasn't really been close. I mean, game one, Texas had the lead, and then Houston kind of just says, no, off with you. They win 13-6. Yesterday, Houston wins 14-1. Now we have Max Scherzer on the mound going up against Justin Verlander. Right now, Texas slightly favored at home. They're sitting at -113. Houston, you can get for even odds over on Caesars. I want to lean Texas, guys. I do. I don't know if that's crazy. We'll sound the psycho alert alarm just because this Houston team is scoring a bunch of runs in this series. But Max Scherzer versus Justin Verlander, as of right now, the way that they're pitching, I am going to lean towards Max Scherzer. Yes, Justin Verlander has been good. In fact, he's only had how many games with, only a couple bad games with Houston so far, right? Max Scherzer has seemingly been more consistent, ever so slightly. And I think Texas has what it takes to pull out one game here. If Houston goes and continues and does what they have been doing, 13 runs, 14 runs, if they score 13, 12, 14, 15, whatever it is, runs today, then yes, this is going to stink. But I'm backing Max Scherzer. I think that he gets up for big spots here. And this is obviously a big spot, but that Houston offense obviously is going to scare me. Back in, a while back, I think back in early June, maybe mid-June, Scherzer did pitch against Houston. They didn't have, I think Altuve was still out then, but whatever. He pitched 8 innings of 1 runs, only letting up 4 hits and 8 strikeouts in that game, averaging 11.4 pitches per inning. I like that. If he can do that again, I think that he tempers this Houston offense. So, this is a game in which I like Texas on the money line. If you guys are on Houston, I'm not really trying to talk you off of it because I could totally see, as a baseball fan and someone that bets on baseball every single day, I could see them going out there and scoring 10-plus runs again because it's the trend, right? And I don't think they're ready to get off that yet, but I'm just hoping Texas can score a bunch of runs today and Max Scherzer can at least temper that incredible offensive output that Houston has right now. In terms of a total, 8.5, I'm looking at the over. Again, I like Texas to come out there and be a little better offensively than what they have been in this series thus far. And then Houston, even if they have some sort of regression, if they go out there and score 4 or 5 runs, we're still looking at a really good spot for an over. Now, I don't necessarily think Scherzer's going to let up those runs, say through 6 or 7 innings, right? But the bullpens here, I do think that, there's some room for opportunity if Scherzer comes out. And yes, it would hurt our money line play, but last 3 for this Texas bullpen, 9.59 ERA with a 2.05 whip. Now, you can make the argument that that's just been because Houston's tagging them, sure, but on the season here, 4.25 ERA with a 1.14 whip. That Texas bullpen's kind of gone up and down all season long, so if Scherzer can at least hold them to, like I said, maybe 1 or 2 earned runs through 6, then I think, Houston can get to the bullpen, scoring maybe 3-4 runs, but meanwhile, I'm really hoping that Texas has a good offensive output. But yeah, give me the over as well as Texas in the game. I know I talked that through and through, but it is, I think, a pretty on-the-fence type game for a lot of people here because you have 2 good teams, 2 good pitchers. Houston obviously playing better, but I think Max Scherzer gets a slight edge in the pitching department right now. All right, the Angels taking on Baltimore. If you're going to keep giving me Baltimore for decent odds, I'm going to keep rolling with them. They are hot right now. I do believe they have to travel all the way across the country. They do have a day off before their next series, but that could be sort of a getaway, like just get through this game type of a spot. But you have Patrick Sandoval going up against Kyle Gibson, who has absolutely struggled as of late, but any pitcher that's been facing the Orioles seems to have struggled, more often than not in their last 10. So yes, you're getting good odds for the Orioles. It's because of the pitching. I like the Orioles and the over in this spot because I do think the Angels are going to be able to do something similar to what they did yesterday, maybe even more runs, scoring 4 or 5 today. But I'm hoping that the Orioles can at least score, 6-7 and win this game because -124 for a team that is as hot as the Orioles, I don't think you pass that up. Yes, they have Kyle Gibson, like I said, who's not pitching well, but I'm just hoping they score more runs than obviously the Angels here because he has struggled as of late, and I think the Angels can at least put up a handful of runs against him today. And that is going to wrap it up for the video, guys. Hopefully don't have a 2-5 night like we did yesterday. That sucked. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you did enjoy the video. Go ahead and comment 28 if you made it to the end of the video. I love seeing all the people that comment that. Like, you have no idea how much that makes my day. And I gave a rant at the end of yesterday's video. I don't don't want to do it again, talking about how thankful I am, but truly, guys, I am thankful each and every day. And the fact that we're getting into NFL season now, which is just crazy to me, we're going to be putting out, myself personally, right? We got a bunch of other videos coming out on the channel. We have a Red Sox podcast, a Patriots podcast, as we did start as a Boston-based site. I think my content output is going to be like 15 to 16 videos per week. Huh? Who's grinding like that, right? On vacation, everything. But yeah, guys, hope you guys do enjoy the video. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.